Morning, everybody. Just give me one moment here to get set up, and I'm a little frustrated and flustered right now. I put my card somewhere safe and I cannot find it. So I'm just going to take this photo, open in, no, not in a new tab, in a new window, which I can't do. Great. Okay, you guys can see me. My big stomach in the way. Ready? Okay, that's making sound. All right, if I do this, just bear with me, guys, for one moment here. Hello, Kim. Just being a little silly and going live and going, oh wait, where's my card? So I am just going to open up the picture so I at least know what colors I used and where. I search class 8. Open up and do this. I'm sure I'm going to find it right after class. And I'll be like, oh, where he is, right there. Right in front of me. But, oh well, c'est la vie. Just want to make sure that when I'm coloring, I know what I used. So, okay. I'm just going to adjust my table and my light here, and then we'll get started. Just realized how crooked I am. The good news is I have another card I made for, for the, I have the flamingo card I made with the same thing, so I can use that for my dimensions at least. I know I put it, like I went upstairs to write down what papers to cut out at one point, so I'm sure, again, it's in a safe place. I just don't know where. Also just gonna adjust my camera because it's angled a little weird still. Hopefully I don't make you guys all seasick. Ugh. Something like that. Zoom in today a little bit. Oh gosh. Not a chaotic live unless I'm live like this. Okay, so you guys can see mostly what I'm doing. Just make sure I'm in view. Ugh, sorry, girls. That's too low. Let me just stay there. Doesn't anymore. All right, we're gonna go like that. That way I can zoom in if needed. That's betterish. All right, so welcome to class 8. I am going to be doing what's called a center step fold card. It's kind of similar to what Delise did, but a little bit different. And I think what I'll do is we'll start with making the card base, and then I will go on to the coloring after. Move this over a bit more. I think that's good. Again, I apologize I didn't have my instructions ready. I, for whatever reason, thought I had to type them up, and I must have been a fever dream because I didn't. I will forewarn people, I've had a kind of a interesting week. It's been fun, but also stressful. My grandmother's in the hospital, so, you know, it's one of those, you think everything's going to be smooth, and things are just kind of all over the place right now for me. So I apologize if it seems like I'm extra flustered today. Anyway, we're going to start here. The first thing that we need is you need to cut a 8.5 by 11 sheet in half to 4 1/4 by 11. Just a regular cardstock's fine, whatever you use for a card base. She's not good, Kim. She's probably going to go into a home, just because she can't even really walk right now, and my grandmother's one of those people who doesn't like people taking care of her. So we're having struggles with her, just to kind of, you know, let her know, like, this is more important that you know, you're safe and you have somebody watching you. Then I'm just gonna move this over a bit more here. Then, you know, you have peace of mind. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard because, again, her brain's there. Like, that's the good news. The stroke was considered, I guess, minor, but it's enough that she doesn't have motor function as good as she should. But she's able to talk, she's able to communicate, she's still got her sass. But yes, losing her independence she's not a happy camper about that, for sure. But anyway, I did have a nice week off. I need to de-stress from work, so it was good. Go back to making the card now. Sorry. ADHD, sometimes fun. Okay. So again, I just was kind of waiting for a few moments. It looks like we have some more people. Hi, Linda. Hi, Debbie. Glad to see you guys there. I think I said hi to Margaret. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Say hi now. We are going to start making the base of the card, and it's a fun stepper. It is a stepper card. It's a fun one that you can display on a mantle. So kind of similar to what Delise did. Hers is a little bit more like scene building. I'm going for more of a like coloring and stuff like that for mine. So and they are different. So at least we're not making the exact same thing. Anyway, I know I just posted in the group a little diagram of what we need here. So I'm just going to move this over a bit. Have this in the screen. Sorry, my mat's got a bad glare right now. So that hopefully you can read my scribble. But again, you just want a card base. You may have already cut this with your homework, but if you haven't, it's 4 1/4 by 11. And what we're gonna do is I would recommend a paper trimmer that has the inches on here and also inches along the side. I will zoom in for that part. Or maybe I'll just highlight it or once I put the paper in, you guys are probably going to see it better. So I'm just going to move this up so you can see what I'm doing. The first cut we are actually going to do is we're going to take our piece of paper. And if you have a trimmer like mine, I like this one because I can slide it to the 1 inch mark. So on the bottom here, if you don't have like this overhang on your trimmer, you just want to slide it all the way over to this side, right? So we basically want to do a cut 1 inch in. Do not cut yet. I'm going to move my trimmer down. How do I show you guys this? Maybe just without cutting into the paper. Do you guys want me to zoom in? Can you see that I have markings on my side of mine? It's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to zoom in. Bear with me. Not zooming out. I want to zoom in. Okay. I'm sorry you can't see my little chart then. If I leave it. Well, if I do that, you can see. Just make sure it's down enough that you guys can see. Yeah, there we go. And then move this up. All right. I'm just waiting for my screen to catch up with me to make sure that I'm still in view. Looks like I have a bit of room here. Move that over. Hello, Laura. haven't gone very far yet, so if you just pop in now, that's great. I'm just moving my trimmer up so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better, and I'm just making sure I'm still in the camera. All right, there we go. Now you can see better. All right, so we're gonna have our paper lengthwise, so the 11-inch line and the 4 1/4. And again, I'm just moving this over to the 1-inch mark on my trimmer. And do not cut yet. I'm moving my blade down, and you want to line it up to your 1-inch mark on your cutter. So making sure you guys can see that. This down. I'm just trying to go slow too so that everyone can see what I'm doing. All right, and then we are going to cut up to from the 1-inch mark up to 6 1/2. So I'm just following the side of my blade here. If you don't have something like this on your trimmer, you can always just take a pen and paper and draw the line and then cut. But I'm just basically eyeballing where 6 1/2 is there on the marker. My hand's in the way. I'm going to move down a bit for you guys. I hope this is making sense so far. And I'm going to lift my paper up. And then I want to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the 1-inch mark on this side. So we're just going 1 inch from the outside. And since this is still at 6 1/2 or so, I'm going to move my trimmer down. And instead of going from 6 1/2 to the 1-inch mark. And I don't always get a perfect match, but it's close enough that if I'm off by a bit, I can fix it after. Okay, does that make sense? So you should have 2 lines that are cut from 1 inch to 6 1/2 inches and 1 inch in on both sides. I'm going slow because sometimes I speed things up and then people are like, wait, slow down. All right, and then you can pour out your scoreboard if you want. I'm just going to use my trimmer. I'm excited. I bought the new Stampin' Up, well, it's not new, Stampin' Up trimmer that has the scoreboard, the scoring lines, and the trimmer. I'm hoping that helps me out a little bit. Move this up so you can see a bit better. Now, I'm rotating my paper 90 degrees, and I'm just going to find my first score line, or my first cut line here, which I also know is about 1 inch in, so I can just line the 1 inch mark up here. And we're going to score, so you may want to watch this first before you do it. We're only going to score, I'm not going to do it yet, I'm only going to score from the outside to the cut line, and then the outside to the cut line. I do not want to score in the middle here. So I'm just going to slowly do that. Just making sure my camera's catching me okay on there. Looks good. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. But again, we're just missing the middle. Okay. And then we want to go to 2-inch line. I find it easier to just rotate my paper again and line it up to the 2-inch side on this side of my trimmer. I'll do things a little differently. And then I score here. And I score here. And you may not want to use a thick bone folder like I am. You may want to use something a little bit thinner, or again, a scoreboard. All right. So that gives us a little bump on each side of our panel. But we have this whole thing that's all smooth and matte. Everyone good so far if you're following along? Then I'm going to move my paper up to, okay, so I think you guys will be able to see this okay. Just put that down again. So now I'm going to move my paper up. Oh, and I'm going to move that up a bit. So you guys can see my marks on my page. Camera's a little bit awkward angle right now, but that's okay. So now I'm going to move my paper up to 6.5. And I always find the trimmer, for some reason, probably because it's not supposed to be used this way, I don't know why they put the 6.5 mark right against the line here, but I sometimes will go 6, 7, that line is that line, that, so yeah, kind of where the plastic meets is my 6.5 line. And it should line up basically to where your cut lines are too, so. And then you're going to do the same thing. We're just going to score on the outside parts, not in the middle. And I might be slightly off, so I'm going to move that up a bit. Go. Yeah, okay. I might have to cut that a little bit more. Ugh. Alright, so I'm just going to do quickly, if you have the same problem I have, I'm just going to pop my trimmer back in for a second, make sure I line up my line. Just a tiny bit more. It's okay if it goes past my score line a little bit. Oh, okay, well, that maybe was a bad idea, but flying by the seat of our pants, sometimes that happens. Yeah, whatever. It didn't work. So cut properly the first time is probably best, but that's okay. That's why I tell people, especially with cards like these where there are multiple steps, it's probably best to just do practice ones first and then come back. As you can see, I kind of messed it up, but it'll still work, so I'm going to just use it. I think you guys got the drift of it anyway. So now I'm moving my paper to 5.5. And this time, we're only scoring in the middle. We're not scoring at the outsides at all. So just from the cut line to this line. Oh, I'm off camera, sorry. A little bit. I'm just waiting for my computer to catch up here. Yeah, okay. So instead of, I just kind of draw a fake line, I don't actually press in. And then I'm going to just score right in the middle here only. Okay. And that's all we need to do for scoring and cutting for now. So I'm just going to move my trimmer out of the way. All right, so I'm just wondering if I should zoom out a little bit for the folding part. Yeah. Bear with me again. All right, so again, hopefully this helps you kind of see where you're supposed to cut and score too, if I was a bit confusing there for you. So now this is going to make us have a fold in the middle, and then I start kind of in the, I start with our 2-inch line, and I'm going to press, oh, that's going to go up, so this is going to go in. So just going like this, and like this on our 2-inch line, and then this you can kind of just push up then after. So the 1-inch line should be a mountain fold, and the 2-inch line should be a valley fold, and then the middle part will come up. And I only want to fold the middle part. I don't want to fold, I can fold these sides down. Kind of have to almost fold it all together, and then it'll come come and be a better fold. Here we go. And I did that wrong. This way. Oh, maybe that'll hide the fact that I screwed that up. All right. So you're basically making a card like this. And if you had cut it properly the first time, it folds nicer. But luckily I can hide most of my flaws there. Alright, sorry again, I hope this makes sense. It's kind of hard to show you guys what it looks like, but basically it's got a straight piece here, then it folds down, and this part folds up, and this middle part folds up. So I'm just going to take my trimmer. Oh good, thanks Laura. Would help if I cut this better, but you know, lives are always kind of stressful. And you might want to just like reinforce your folds too, a bit. As you can see, I kind of screwed mine up a bit, but that's okay. When you go to put it on a mantle, no one's going to see that you're a little bit off. So if you did do that. There's a little piece here that I'm just going to take my trimmer. Troubleshooting is always good too, right? In case you make mistakes like me. And I'm just going to cut this a little bit. Bend it back. I'm just going to see that. There. You don't have to do that if you did it fine the first time. All right. Okay, so that's how you make this basic fold. When you open up the card, there is space to write. Somebody just has to, like, you just have to make sure that things aren't seen on the outside. So I maybe just write my message down here. Or you can write your message on the back of the card too. Okay, now we're just going to go decorate quickly and then we'll get to coloring. So you hopefully would have cut out everything first. Does anybody need me to go over? Yeah, well, I'll maybe, like I said, I'm going to write up instructions, Laura, and they'll make it easier when you have instructions too. Just was my bad. I've been a bit distracted lately, so I didn't realize I hadn't done them. So now we are just going to do, does anybody need it, the instructions on cutting the pattern paper out, or did everyone do that beforehand? I can go over it quickly, because I do have that written out. You may want to just reference, oh good, okay, well Laura, since I think you're the only one doing it with me, we'll just go ahead then. I also made a diagram on the Facebook page on our group, so you can follow along with that if you need the instructions. I'm just going to take my lightning bug paper that goes in the middle. I'm just adding glue. I'm just adding it to my little yellow piece that's my mat. I cut mine a little bigger than probably I should have, but that's fine. A lot of it's going to be covered up anyway by the main image. Okay, and then I'm going to glue that and put that in the middle part of my card. The other thing I would recommend for anybody who's like, wow, that's cool, I wonder if I'll be able to make it. Oh, I did cut that way too big. Be right back. It's from a artist in BC, or well, actually she's in Calgary now, named Bailey J. Lindsay. So don't do what I'm doing. I had cut mine a little too big, so my matting layer. I'm just going to trim a little bit off. Both sides. So if you haven't had glue like me and you did use my instructions and cut it wrong, then you can probably fix it right now. I'm being bad and I'm going to have to clean my trimmer after. Yeah, a little better. Yes, I will make sure there's instructions, Jennifer. Totally. I, again, apologize. I'll have the diagrams and everything for you guys after here. All right. So this just goes in the middle. That's better. And then map my orange stars. I've also been taking care of my brother's pets all weekend. So thought I'd be home more and went, oh yeah, I need to go and do that too this weekend. So it's been a bit chaotic, but it's okay. And these just go on the sides. So you can flatten your card right now to make it easier for yourself to see where you want to put this. But it should just fit in the middle. And you want to make sure that it's in between the two score lines at the top there. Oh, I'm off camera. Okay. This part's pretty easy. Once you get the trimming of the card, and the folding, that's the most difficult part. Which is why I should have instructions for you all, and I will. Just bear with me. And then this yellow piece is going to go down here. And I didn't put a matting layer on this piece because it's already yellow, but you could always choose a different color combo if you like. I thought it was okay without a matting layer. And this just goes down here. It's going to be okay. Okay. You can, if you want, you can cut little 1-inch pieces here if you want, but because this card's going to fold up like this, put it back into its position. You don't see it, right, once it's folded up, so I didn't bother. But you can if you want, if you're worried about it, somebody seeing that and being a stickler for it. Okay, so that's how we make our base. Now we're going to go into coloring our images. And I'm going to pull up my stamp platform for that. And I'll zoom in and angle my camera a little bit so you guys can see. So it's up to you. You can always stamp your stuff first and then cut it out. I use my Cricut or my Silhouette, so I've already stamped out my images, or sorry, cut out my base of the jar forward. And I'm just going to use a mask that I also cut out with my Silhouette to line up my stamps. So first thing I'm going to do is going to take our lighted up stamp and I'm going to pull out the jar. And I just put that in the middle. And I stamped that out in Magical Midnight, which I don't have. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm just grabbing my Magical Midnight. And I just have grid paper in my Misty, and that way I can just stamp on it. And the nice thing about that is you can line up everything on there too, right? If you do it this way. And I just take my little mask. Again, if you don't, I know I didn't go through that in the instructions and you want to just cut it out after you stamped everything, that's fine too. But this is just how I like to do things. And mine just has a bit of a white border around it. just because I like the look of that too. I'm just going to stamp my jar. Didn't get really at the top there, so I'm just going to add more ink. There we go. So now I'm just moving my mask out and taking my jar off. I'll clean it up after, so you guys don't have to watch me clean it. So everybody enjoying the classes so far? I have one more after me with Melanie. And yeah, so the stamp set's so cute. I can't wait to do the fishies in it. I think that'll be cute, and making little scenes. Next, what I did was oh, good. That's good, Laura. I'm glad that it's been great. It just helps like learning different things people do, right? Oh, good, guys. I just realized I moved my mask too early, but that's okay. I could just plop this back in place. Normally I leave my mask and I just take out the image so that way I can plan my card, but it's okay. We're going to put the fireflies at the top, near the top. I want a little bit of space so that I can add a little bit of a highlight on their little butts. Good. Yeah, even if this, let's say you're like, you know, this card is cute, not really my thing. Even just taking the classes so you can learn and go, okay, well, I know I don't want to use it maybe for this, but I want to use it for something else in the future. You have that option, right? So I am just going to put a piece of paper under so you guys can see what I'm stamping better. It's black. All right, so our little fireflies I stamped in creamy caramel. Oh yeah, no worries, Kim. I'm good. And just put them in our little jars. Oh, his eye needs a little bit more stamping. I think the middle of my Misty has a bit of a claw in it. That or just because I don't store things properly, I've wrecked it a little bit. So I sometimes have to double stamp, but usually our stamps you don't necessarily need to. They're good quality that way. And if you want, if you haven't done it already, you can stamp your little masks for your fireflies, but I already did. So I like to put them down just so that I make sure I'm not accidentally stamping into them. So if you haven't done that yet, you just want to make, I use Post-it tape to make my masks. Just adding them in, and yes, I reuse them so until they're not sticky anymore. But we're just going to cover most of that so that I don't accidentally stamp in the cute little faces. Then I took our leaf that we have with our stem, and I know I'm going to have a bit of overlap with the lightning bugs, so that's why we made the mask too. But now I'm not worried about it because I got most of my stamp covered. And I did fresh fields for that. Any green will do. I just like to kind of almost color code where my colors are going to be. You can always just do everything in one color too, if this seems silly to do it in multiple colors, but I think it adds a bit of whimsy doing it that way. Okay. And you can always add some other things in the jar if you like, but I just left it like that. Now, I do see that I have a little bit of the bum on this firefly. Must have misstamped it a little bit. So just gonna move that over, just so that I'm covering most of that. It's not the end of the world if I get yellow on there, but I did say in the instructions to cut out like a little circle, and we wanted this circle part. We don't need the circle, but we do want the hole that the circle leaves. And I just used a die, it's probably Yeah, about 1 inch dye. I'm just going to put this over where I want the little globe for the firefly bum. So just make sure I'm in the jar too. And I'm just going to put that down. Take our yummy yellow and a little blender brush. And we're going to just add glow in a circular motion here. I use Nina paper for my stamping. I forgot to mention that. Sometimes I find the blend is not always the best of our inks on it, just because it's the thicker paper that likes to absorb. But given that this is just a small area, I'm okay if it's not perfect. And then I'm going to rotate this to the little other bee or other firefly. You can always draw in a circle too if you didn't want to do it this way, but we have inks for a reason. I might make this one a bit later because he's a little smaller. And that's how we're going to get our glows on our fireflies. Pull off our mask. And I'm just sticking mine to the back of my stamp plastic here, so I can save it for next time. Okay, so now we're gonna get ready to color, and I might just keep mine in my Misty for now. Thanks, Debbie, I appreciate it. And luckily I do have all my markers out, but I am gonna try and angle because I'm left-handed. I wanna make sure that you guys can see my coloring. And I want to make sure that you can see the caps for the markers too. So that might just color it in the Misty today instead of grabbing sticky grids since I don't have any right now. Going to try, I'll zoom in from here. If I can. Come on. They really need to make a remote for us so that we can just zoom in, pause. I'm gonna push this probably up. Yep. I'm gonna move my camera down a bit actually. Again, sorry if I make you all seasick. Just that way I'm not reaching so far to color. Oh, I just realized I didn't plug my camera in. Just 1 second. Hopefully this doesn't stop our feed. All right, am I still live? Oh boy. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Let's just see if I'm okay. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Okay, so I am still live. Ugh. Okay, so I am still live. Sorry, everybody. I should have had my camera plugged in because my phone likes to battery likes to die quick, and I don't want to be in the middle of class and you guys don't all of a sudden see what I'm doing. And oh, sorry, the echo. Mute. See what I'm doing. And okay. Jeez. Oh, don't worry about it, Mary Pat. Hi, Danielle. We're just going on to coloring. I might redo, just at the end, I might redo the base just to show people how to do it again. Especially since I had a little bit of errors going on with mine. And that way I can kind of slowly go through it again. I won't obviously decorate it because I've already used my pattern paper, but I can at least show you guys again how to do the base. But we're just going to start with coloring. All I did was add glows with that circle. Hi, Marianne. Hi, everybody. We're going to just start coloring. I usually like to start just with anything with the face. So I will try and keep my marker in the corner too. I'm just moving this down a little bit. You can see a little bit of shake your pom-poms ghosting through the paper. All right, so for my markers for the firefly, I used a combination of yellows and yellow oranges. So I did put in the list star markers. Hopefully you guys have them. I do tend to use a lot of contrast with my coloring. So if you're like, wow, that's a lot, you can always just do less, right? But I'm going to start with a base of Y11. Make sure that's okay. Yeah, it's not making too much of a shadow on there. And I'm just going to start with the face here. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap. Actually, no, I didn't in this case. I'm just going to go and color this whole face in with just Y11. I used creamy caramel this time for my stamping for them, so you guys can see better what I'm doing. I do have to sometimes still draw in the face, but oh thanks, it was easy. I went a little dark. I went a little heavy-handed on here. I kind of like the glow over there better, but that's okay. And then I go to my darkest. So YR27. I might add an E in, like an E37, but I'm going to start with my YR27. And I think of this as just a shape first. So if it scares you to color over their eyes and their mouth, then you may want to go a little bit lighter than I do. But worst case, I usually can see the image still underneath, and I just draw it back in. So I'm just going to do a C shape, and I'm leaving a little bit of a gap just here. And then I'm going to do a C shape over here, backward C shape. I'm going to come over here to this side and just add a bit more darkness because I'm thinking my shadows, my highlights over here, my shadows over there. Probably doesn't actually make sense since we had the glow of their bums, but that's how I'm seeing it today. All right, so in YR24, I'm going to blend that out a little bit. So then I just start, I'm not going past this line right now. I'm just blending from the dark part out towards the middle. And then I just come over a bit. Same with this side. And I'm just extending up and over. My hands out of the way, you can see that. Okay. Yep, okay. And then I have YR21. And now I'm going to add quite a bit of this because my second lightest color. Now I'm almost meeting up. I'm meeting up at the bottom there, but I'm not meeting up at the top yet. I'm just adding quite a bit of that. Actually, I need a bit more. Starting at the bottom, working my way up. But again, leaving a little bit of a glow in the middle so that way that can kind of be a highlight too. And then again, going back with Y11. And this time I'm just going to blend it all over again. And then come in the middle. And this will lighten it up, but it'll give it a little highlight too. So I usually do 2 layers, but I don't go necessarily back in right this second. I let it like dry a little bit before I go back in, or I'm going to have a lot of bleed. So then I'll go up to his bum up there, do the same thing, starting with my Y11. Just going to add that in. Coat the whole thing. And then I'm going to take my YR27. And I just went, basically, these wings are kind of casting a shadow, so just made sure that in between the wings has quite a bit of the YR27. And then I just came up the sides a little bit on both sides there. YR24. Blend that out a bit. The one nice thing about doing the glow too is I can kind of see how bright I want the bum to be. I want obviously darker than the glow, but I want to make sure I keep adding a little bit of a highlight near the end of the bum. Actually, it's going to go a little bit over there, like that. And then I come down back in with my Y11. And by the time we do this part, the face should be dry enough. I could go back in with my second layer on the face. And I do think I want to add a bit of E27, or sorry, E37. So I don't do a full coat of the Y11 again. I just go in with my darkest. So this time I'm now going to bring in my E37. And I am just going to come again into the cheek area, add a little bit there, come on the other side, add a little bit there. If you want, you can start drawing in the eye details with this, if you're good with fine lines. If not, you can always just use a gel pen. It looks silly right now until you blend it all out, of course, too. Go to my second darkest now, which is the YR27. Add that back in. And again, I'm always extending a little bit and pulling it into the middle. YR24. So does everyone else have any plans for today? I'm excited that I have still one more day off because I still have to go back over to my brother's house, take care of the kitties and the puppies for another day until they get home. My poor girl upstairs is pouting. Came home to find out she hasn't eaten since I left, so you have to give her some attention before I go back over to their house. Poor thing. I feel bad for her that I left her alone, but she has a food timer. She has finding that my dark E37 is a little dark right now, then you can just blend back over with another color to blend it out a bit better. And if you don't like the glow on this side, you can always go back in and just color the dark over it again. And oh, sorry, that was Y11. And then just blending up. Do you want overblend, or you might lose a little bit of the face like I did there. Why is it when I teach classes that I have more of a struggle? But just going to add the face back in and you won't even notice. Alright, so now I'm going back up to the bum, adding a bit more. Now I'm going to add the E37 up there, just to darken up my shadow. And sometimes, again, you're judging it by how close you are. Sorry, YR27 up. And if you don't like what I did, you can always go back in and let it dry for a few moments so that you're not overly flooding the paper. And then you can go back in and fix it up. So I might do that because I'm not 100% happy with it. But I want it to dry a little bit before I add more ink. So YR21. Again, just leaving a little bit of a space there so that I can add back in the Y11. And with the Y11, I start with the top and I kind of push the ink down a little bit into the paper so that way I make sure that my glow is still there. All right. I'm just going to quickly fix up the face. Maybe I didn't add. So I don't like this line here, so I want to make sure I'm blending it out more. Take my time. Make sure that comes across a little bit more too. Maybe up and over. And YR24. There we go. Sometimes multiple layers help a little bit too. I think the line that was bugging me was down there. So still have a bit of a glow, but less of one than I did before. Then YR21. Blend that up. Again, I want to leave a little bit of a highlight on in the face. And always, if you don't like the line over here, you can always go over it again. And then I'm going to take my Y11 and color over that. You also want to wait sometimes because the paper does need some time to soak in too. But I like that better now. I might go back in and darken up the, it looks really bad on my screen. It looks a lot better in person than it does on my screen. We may not go as dark on this one just because he's a little smaller. So while I just start with my Y11, we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Add a little coat of Y11. And this one, I'm not going to go to the E37. I'm just going to do YR27. I don't know why I think smaller animals. I'm like, I think they're brighter. So, or smaller critters. And again, just the same thing. Just adding darkness on the outside there. Sure, add a bit over. Then I'm going to go to YR24. Also will admit, you know, I colored this up probably, I would say 3 weeks ago now. So, still trying to remember what I did. All right, YR21. Then again from the bottom, start pulling that up. And this one, we'll just make sure the bottom's colored with this YR21 this time. Yeah, that's what I did. That's such a contrast. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then my Y11, coat over everything again. I'm going to leave the details for last there. Let that soak in. I'm going to make this one lighter, so I probably won't add a second layer on that one. This all depends on preference. But I just did the little bump. And I'm just going to add the darkness into the shadows where the wings meet. Come up and over, up and over. YR24, extend that line out. YR21. And I'm just going to come back down here now and just add a bit more of that too. Felt like I needed a bit more down there. And then Y11. Blend over the face because I just added a bit more on there. And again, blend from the top of the bum down. And I'll give you a little bit of a glow on the end. Alright, so if you're like me and you're not very happy with it, sometimes just adding the details back in will help. Kind of hide it a little bit, so I'm just drawing his eyes back in. And his little mouth. Same on this side. Okay. And, oh, thanks, Delise. Didn't even see you sneak in. I'm going to add this darkness to the antennas here because I want them to stand out. Probably should do the wings first now that I've said that out loud. Well, I'm nervous today. Yeah. That's why I think I'm going to start recording my stuff instead of lives because I do get a bit nervous. But I just did the antennas. I'm just adding YR21 to the middle of them. Okay. I will add little glows in the eyes after, but for now that's fine. So we got our yellows done. For the wings, I did B000, like B4 zeros, or B00, B01, and B04. Oh, sorry, no, B52, take out the B04. All right, so same thing, I'm just going to take my lightest color. Oh, thanks, Melanie. I don't know. Yes, thanks, guys. I know I'm the worst critic of my own self here. I'm just taking the lightest color, and I'm just going to color in the wings. And again, you probably want to do that before you do the antennas, because this color is very light and can bleed a little bit. But I'll fix it after if that's the case. I'm going to do all the wings right now, just to speed us up here. You can always just leave it at that if you like just the lightness. I have to put the lid in there. But I'm now going to jump up to B01. And I am just going to start kind of near the base of where the wing meets the head and come over. And this wing is behind the other wing, so I want to make sure I get a shadow in there. This wing is behind the other wing, so make sure I have a good shadow. And then just coming up kind of the sides here. Same with this side. I'm going to come behind the wings in back. I'm going to make sure there's quite a bit of shadowing because this is one of my darker colors. And then up the sides here. And this just adds a little bit more of a blue color in, but has a bit of shadow so that you could tell the wings apart. And then I'll go to B00. Blend that out a bit. Trying to leave lots of room at the tips of the wings because we're going to add a bit of yellow to them. And that will make it look like the wings are glowing from the bum. I am going to wait till that dries. I'm going to add my, Y11 now. And I'm just adding it just to the tips of the wings here. You might go, well, yellow and blue is going to make green, and it does slightly, but I think overall it just still looks like it's yellow glow on the wings. Now, I did add in B52. Normally I would start with one firefly at a time so that it's dry. I'm just using this as just enforcing my shadows. So I'm just coming to basically where this wing's overlapping this wing. Same with this side. And then where the head's kind of overlapping the wings too. I'm adding shadow there. Just to make the shadows so that the wings pop against each other a bit better. And in my sample, I did go in with this color, just follow the lines here, but I'm not going to today. I think I like them just in brown, like in the gold color. So that is our little fireflies drawn up. I'm just going to add a little white gel pen to their eyes, if I can find one. There's my 10. If you're ever like me and you sometimes have your gel pens clog up, use your little wrist here to just add them back in. And I'm just dabbing just the tiniest little white dots into their eyes. Just give them a little bit of life. I do like little cheeks, like little dots in their cheeks too. So just adding little white dots in their cheeks. Again, I'm very subtle with this. I don't tend to make mine too big. Like barely touching the paper. Now, if you have a Spectrum Noir pen, like a glitter pen, which I do, mine's starting to get pretty old and frayed, I'm just going to add this into the wings. Just add a little bit of shine. You can always use stickles if you have stickles. I like to use shimmery watercolors, but I thought you guys might have this at hand. I know I didn't have that on the list. Oh no, I said I think you could do that with a colors. And there's our little fireflies. Done. All right, now we're gonna just go and work our way down to the branch. And that one I did in E30, E31, E33, E35. And I think I added E37 at the end just to make the line streaker. So just like I did with my fireflies, I start with my light coat first to make a base coat. So just going with my E30. And I know the branch is green right now because we stamped in green. That's okay. Once you add the dark colors, you won't even notice that it's green. But I'm just adding a base coat of the brown here on our branch. All right, and then I'm going to hop over to my darkest, which is right now it's the E35. And with branches, I sometimes struggle with them. I like to just watch what the artist's lines are doing, but I also like to come up, once my hand's out of the way, you'll see I'll just add a little bit from the bottom and kind of angle up towards the top. I'm going to add a little bit here where the branches meet. Kind of just at an L shape there. The same with here and up here. There also, if you're good with fine lines, you can go in and draw over the lines, but for now I just want to blend the brown and then I add my lines in at the end. Because for me, I struggle with that. Thank you, Danielle. I try to always add freckles. Freckles, and oh, I missed the eyebrows. I knew I missed something on my bees. Or not my bees, my fireflies. I don't know why. Fireflies probably don't have eyebrows, but I like adding eyebrows to my critters. I just think that it gives them kind of a more whimsical look. So I'm just going back in with my E37. Yeah. That makes me happier. Alright. So that was E35. Now I'm going to jump to E33. And I'm just blending out exactly where I just put ink down. And again, extending out. Extending up and out. Over. Alright, again, my hands kind of get in the way. Still haven't found the perfect angle for that yet. But once I move my hands, you can kind of see what I've done. Alright. E31 next. So I guess I can, while I'm coloring, because it's just, you probably don't need me to tell you every color. You can see it in the top there. This week I decided to have a staycation because my grandma, we didn't end up going away. We were supposed to go, it wasn't going to be the most exciting trip, but we were supposed to go away for a little bit just because it's my only week off. Being at a new job, I don't have a lot of holidays banked up yet. So just moving to E30. Back over to E30 and just blending out. So I decided to have a staycation. My grandmother even told me, you need to go and do some fun stuff because it's not fair that you didn't get to go away. And I'm like, all right, Grandma, I'll make sure I'm doing some fun stuff this week. So I've been wanting to get a certain type of journal for my mural project. Something a little bit more bold and graphic. So I went and found that, and then bought, of course, a few other journals that I didn't need. Isn't that the life? But now I have lots of journals, so hopefully I have the choice of whatever I want to do. I'm just letting that dry for a second. Thank you. Yeah, I have to add eyebrows. I don't know. Just for me, it's just my thing. This doesn't take that long to dry. You can always feel it with your hand. I'm going to go back in with my E35. So I bought some notebooks. If you saw, I don't know, if you follow me, you might have seen that I bought a whole bunch of things that have strawberries on them, because I'm just kind of obsessed with strawberries right now. And then I've been mural hunting, just because that was kind of the plan for our trip, was we were going to go and travel to some places that had some mural festivals going on. So we have tons and tons of murals in Edmonton, and I adore them. Oops, kind of streaked out of there. I'm just adding a second layer quickly here because I found it kind of just bolds it, makes it more bold. And then once that dries a little bit, we'll go back in and just draw the lines in with our E35 and our E37 if needed. But I'm just adding more layers. And don't be afraid to be streaky with your branches because they're branches. They're not all one color. But I'm just adding, just making sure I'm keeping some highlights in there, more towards the top. Coming down, there we go. And no, I would love to paint a mural, but I'm not the best at drawing. Actually, you know what? That's not true. I kind of painted a mural. When we were in a junior high, we got those ceiling tiles you can take down. And we all painted ceiling tiles for grade 8 art. So I guess that would be a mural. I painted a toucan. I'm a little obsessed with them. So I had painted a toucan on mine. Most people did like fandom stuff or whatever. Like some of the guys were into, you know, bands at the time. So they did bands. I did a toucan. But I would like to do a mural. I would like to help out, I guess, with somebody who designed a mural. I'm good at coloring things. I'm okay at painting. I'm not so good at drawing my own stuff. So now I'm just going back in with my E37. I'm just darkening up some areas here, but also adding the lines that Sabrina has drawn into her stamp. Sometimes I'll add my own touch, like I'll just add a little circle there. Make sure I'm going in the middle there where the branches meet. And up here where there's just a little bit of a line. And that's how I did my branch anyway. Okay, go for it, do it. Well, that's easy enough to say. I don't know if I could just go ahead and do murals somewhere. I think you have to get permissions to do it. Hi, you random person. I'm just going to come paint on your house, okay? Thanks. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the leaves. Alright, and what time is it? It is... What time is your class? An hour, Melanie? I still got an hour? Yeah, because I started at 11 here. Okay. For my leaves, I did YG03, YG23, YG25, YG17, and G46. So in my original one, I actually didn't do the branch all the way up here. I did just a line and kept the middle lighter. But since I did a branch in this one, that's okay. I'm just going to come to either side of the branch and make sure that I'm kind of, this is one of my lightest colors. I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to make sure that my branch stays in place. Sorry, I just realized I didn't put my lid in place. YG03. And then I am going to come up and I again do the same thing where I take my lightest and just kind of start adding color in. In this case, I'm not going all the way to the end on this layer. And we'll add a little bit of yellow to it with the Y11. Since we know yellows and greens go together, I'm just going to start adding my yellow in now and meeting up with the green. And that way I have a kind of an idea of where I want my darkest colors and my lightest colors to go, is kind of mapping it out first. Oh, okay, good. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I know. It's when I rush I make mistakes, so I just need to slow myself down. So I'm taking my darkest color, which right now is my G46. I'm just starting at the base of the leaf here. I'm working my way up. And then where the branch is, so I'll move my hand out of the way in a second. I'm just going back up there. And then I'm just, basically, she's got some lines. I'm just adding them in by adding little streaks. And then on this side, same thing. Just make sure it's darker on the outside. Like that. And if I get my hand out of the way, you can see what I'm doing. Wish my computer screen would show the actual true colors, because when I look at my screen I go, woof. But I know when I look back at my videos, it doesn't look like what my computer screen looks like. So it's old. It needs to be replaced. Now I'm going back in with my YG17, and I will say my YG17 is almost the same color as the G46. So you can always skip out on this if you don't have all the colors. But I just like having kind of a start with the dark and working my way out. Then I'm going to YG25. And just again, blending out towards the yellow. But making sure to leave a little bit of yellow still, so that we can say that our leaves have a bit of a glow to them. And if you oopsed and you went too far into the yellow, that's fine. You can always, with your, after you've added your lightest color, you can try and blend back in with your green. This is my second lightest, or my third lightest, I guess. Just make sure I'm hitting that spot. I'm just blending it out. So it's YG23, YG03. And I tend to go all the way from the base and work my way up and out. I don't know, that's probably not how you're supposed to, because I'm probably wasting ink by doing that. But just make it softer for me, I find. Alright, and then going back in with my Y11, and now I'm going to blend back out. This will soften my edges, but it'll keep the glow that I wanted too. Okay, and I'll have my Y11 out, I'll go to the next leaf. And this time I know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to coat the whole leaf. Kind of like it because it's looking a little watercolory there. I think it's just because it's smearing. But it does look a little watercolory. I might add a second layer, because then I usually do. So same thing with this one. Just finding where that branch is, making sure I don't color into the branch, but away from the branch. And say at the base there of the leaf, it come over a little bit, because the base of the leaf would be darker. And add my darkest. So it's G46, if I didn't say that. YG17. What else could I talk to you guys about? Anybody have any plans of going away anywhere so I could live vicariously through you guys? Might still get away. I might still just go to Calgary for a couple days, but I'm okay not going anywhere too. And just craft my days off instead. We'll see if I even have any other days off. I think in August we might have to close the clinic for a few days, because apparently if you don't have a vet on staff you can't be open, which makes sense, but I mean, if the pet stores can sell pet food, why can't we? But okay. So we may be closed for a little bit in August because we don't have a vet for 2 days, so I might have some time off then. I'm just going to Y23, blending that out. Ooh, Crease to Alaska. Wow, Laura, that's crazy that you've been to all 50 states. That's amazing. I have not been very many places. I got to go to Seattle last year for the first time. That was fun. I'm just taking my YG03. Oh, is that where you live, Michelle? Oh yeah, I think you told me that before. And then again, going back over with my Y11. Blending that out a bit. Alright, now's the time. I didn't add as many streaks to this, so I definitely need to come back to that leaf. But I am going to go back up to the top one here, and I'm just taking my darkest color and just reinforcing the lines a little bit that I want. You don't have to. but I like having a little bit of texture, especially since Sabrina did draw in texture. This one's dry enough, I think. I should be able to go back in, add some more lines from the middle. And then I might blend out just a little bit with the YG17, but I'm not going to do all the steps again. This was more just to add a bit of texture back into the leaf, so. Okay, and one more leaf, and then we'll start coloring the jar, and we're almost done. So same thing, just Y11, and this time I didn't actually color the branch on the inside of that. So I'll do what I did on my sample so you can see how I did it differently. Oh no. Yeah, you guys had a lot of fires, is what I was hearing. We've been having a lot of fires too, but we've had a lot of rain lately, so. Woo! Well, Laura, if you have time while you're in Seattle, and if you're into things like this, there is a pop culture museum that's pretty cool in Seattle. If you like rock or if you like movies like I do, they have a whole bunch of movie props. It was fun. There's also an outlet mall in Seattle that was pretty nice too. I mean, for us, we don't have some of the stores that you guys have in the States, so it was nice going there and being like, oh, I can go and buy some of my fandom stuff that I like. So instead of the branch being in the middle, I'm leaving a good gap in the middle with yellow. And that is just to show you how I colored it differently on my sample one. Forgot that I had done that. But I'm just not adding any to the middle section right now. Oh yeah, the outlet store is quite a far away from Seattle. It's like outside of Seattle. It was by the casino hotel we stayed at, but it was nice. They're just obviously the Fisherman's Wharf area is really cool. I would go back there again. And just, I would like to go explore their downtown better, but we ran out of time. And also, it was during the heat wave last year, so it was like 33, 35. I think one day was almost 40, so we didn't spend a lot of time outside. So I definitely need to come back to Seattle. So this time I just added a little bit of the green in the middle with with the YG23, just because it was a lot of contrast there. But you'll see, because I left that middle spot lighter, you can just see the kind of the veins a little bit better too in the middle of the leaf. And this one I didn't leave as much spots for yellow, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to come back in with my Y11, blend through the middle there, and up. All right. So I definitely have a softer look than I think it's just because of my blending. But I'm happy with that. I did get a little bit of brown outside of my branch here. Accidentally, I skipped with my marker. So all I do is I just take my white gel pen and just add a little bit there so no, you hardly even notice. That's how I kind of clean up my lines. But usually when I go a little bit lighter ink, I don't have to necessarily always worry about my lines. So now we're just going to go up to the lid. I'm going to turn this slightly. And I just did it in the same colors as I did the fireflies. So I'm going to start with my E35. Making kind of like a goldish copper lid. And I just follow again Sabrina's lines. I meet up with my dark here. And come across. Same with down here. I'm trying to leave some room so that I can add in a lot of highlights into my lid. And then up here, I went like this, and then each hole, I just added darkness to the bottom of each hole. If I move my hand out of the way, you'll see what I mean. just under each hole there. I want to leave some room for the light, so make sure you leave a little bit of some space for your light colors up there. If that makes sense. So it was E35, and then I went to YR. All my markers all over the place now. YR27. There you are. And I'm just following my lines through. So now I'm just going to add more of this and extend it out. Extend that out. Above the line here. And I just come around to the back of this. I'm not going to worry about the front here. I'll color that last, just so that I can make sure I keep my highlights. And YR24. This is going to add a lot more gold to your lid. Should extend that out. Okay, and then YR21. And again, you can always add a little bit of Y11 if you want. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to color the whole thing in because I want this to be more of a golden color than a yellow color. And if you want, you can always leave some white space. Or you can take a gel pen after and add it. I'm just going into each hole now and coloring in with my YR21, the remaining of the hole. And then I'm going to go back to YR27 and extend this a little bit over. You end up accidentally coloring in each hole, then you can go back in. But I'm just going now, if you can see, kind of underneath each one. I'm just making more of a shadow. Whatever you do, you just want to make sure you do it to each one so that they all kind of match up. Then go back to my YR24. Extending that over. Again, trying to avoid the middle of where I put the lightest. Just kind of going in between them. And then I'll take YR21 and color over the rest. Then I did take my gel pen and I just added a little bit of white into each of the holes just to add a bit more of a highlight, especially if you oopsed and accidentally colored in the holes. It just gives it a little bit more of a highlight on each one. You can always streak in a little bit of white on each side of here if you want. Just following your lines. There we go. All right, so now we just need to do the jar. And so I'm just gonna put my magnet up there. And what we did for the jar was we went back to our blues that we used for the wings. But I'm going to pull in B04 too. That's a dark color. Okay, so I started with my lightest. And what I did was I came around to each line on the artist line and came to the side here. So just not in here, but just to the side there. Down here to the bottom. And I'll color over the leaf too. And if there's any of the stump over top of my lines down here, I'll add that as well. So I kind of want the glass to be over top of what you see. And again, just coming to the side here. And we're just kind of mapping out where we want our shadows to be. If you like that and you think that's good enough, you can leave it, but I definitely want to go under the lid. And I'm going to add a lot of shadowing under that because the lid would be doing that. Yeah, just add a little touch of the light blue. Yep, for sure. And then what I did is just to make this look rounder is I just came to the corners here. You can kind of see with my hand out of the way. And I'm just extending that out a little bit. I'm not going all the way around, just on the edges. And that's just going to add, like, where the edges kind of curve is kind of where it would be darker. So just adding a little bit of that. And I am happy to go over the glow here too. And that's why doing it a little bit light-handed is kind of nice because you can see it over top of the glow. All right, and then we jump into our darkest just to go over exactly what we just did. So, yeah, you can see my marker. Okay, B04, and I'm just going to go again under the lid. And this is dark, so you might want to keep your lines pretty thin. But since the lid will be casting a little bit of a shadow, I want to make sure that I add that. And then again, just down the sides here a little bit. You probably can see what I'm doing a little bit better with this marker because it's not so light. And I'm just following where she has her lines. And then again, down here in the corner, just really carefully. And where the top line is over here, again, going over my branch and over my leaf. So now we're going to blend that out so it's not such a harsh line. So I then went to, I did B52 next. And I am just going to extend this line a little bit. Start pulling out the color. You want to be like a little conservative with this, just so that this is more just your shadow color. We'll add a lot more with the light color after. But I hope you can see what I just, I missed down here. Let's make sure we do that too. I'm just going to go straight in with my B04. And then B52. Okay, and then B01. Now I'm going to start doing more of like making sure I'm blending this out a bit more. So I'm just starting to add a little bit more. We have lots of room on the sides here, so I can start being a little bit braver, a bit bolder. Because there is a lot of room in this jar. Obviously, you know, fireflies you more see at nighttime glowing and stuff like that. But because of the sentiment, I wanted to make it look more like an afternoon glow on this bottle, or, you know, early or late morning glow. But if you wanted to, you can make this darker and make it more of a night scene. You would just add probably more darker colors to it, or shadows. Okay, then we're going to go to B00 and blend that out. I'm making it a little bit thicker than I did in my original, but that's okay. Nope, got down here. artist. And we're almost done coloring. Oops, smeared a little bit. That's okay. This is so light that I feel like I'm not even coloring on top of things, but I know I am. And I'm just using it more to soften up my lines a little bit. You can really go to town with this one because it's a lot lighter than your other markers. Okay. Now the other thing you can do is you can take your white gel pen and just add some highlights. Just do it here so it can kind of hide the fact that I streaked. I must have got some of the marker on me because that wouldn't have been from the ink, I don't think. I'm just doing little swirls up and adding little lines. Just a little bit in here too. One thing you can do in here is you could just add little white dots just to make it look a little bit more magical, but we're almost done. And we just gotta add this to our jar, or our card, I mean. Thanks. But yeah, that's how, again, my screen looks so bad. Oh. Okay, maybe instead of going on trips, I should save up for a new computer because, thank you guys, it just looks so much different than what I see in person. Alright, so we're going to take our card base again. And like I said, I will do, since we have half an hour, for those who caught the first half, you can obviously, once we decorate this card, you can go. But just for those who want me to repeat how to make the base, I will do one more. And again, since I kind of screwed up mine, I want to keep true. So I ended up adding my little fireflies to the top here. And I want to make sure that I'm only gluing, I'm not gluing past here. You're going to have glue where you don't want it. So I'm just adding glue to the firefly piece. I'm not going to glue all the way to the top, but just around there is probably good. Then I add, oh, sorry, I forgot that I was zoomed in. Let me zoom out. Oh, I did. Okay, that's good. Sorry. Again, seasick. Yes, but you see where I glued. And then I'm just going to pop this over top of there. And if you didn't add enough glue, you can wait for that to dry, bend this up a bit and add some more. But that just goes in the middle. And this way I don't have any glue on the sides, right? Because I don't want any glue here. Nope. Just want it in the middle. Okay. All right. And then now we can get to decorating. I just want to stamp the sentiment, which I probably should have done before I added the paper, but oh well. You learn and you live and you learn, right? So you may want to stamp your sentiment if you're watching this and you're going to make the card after. You may want to stamp your sentiment on here first, because now I'm going to have to battle with the fact that it's going in. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. So we have a lot of sentiments. I chose Hope Your Day Glows, and I stamped it just to one side. You can always use, if you have a whole bunch of ephemera you want to use up, you can use that too. Oops, then I grabbed the wrong one. I like to Hope Your Day Glows just because obviously we have the glowing jar here. And I'm just stamping it. Oh, this is going to be tricky. You know what? No, it won't. Because you can go like this. There we go. That'll make it easier. Again, I'm here to troubleshoot so that you don't have to. Okay. Then Hope Your Day Glows is going to go down here in the bottom corner, bottom right. And I just stamped mine in Magical Midnight, just because I wanted something dark. Or you could always use fresh fields too. If you want to get super creative, you could always add maybe a little something that glows over top the word glows. That'd be cute. I have to think about that for a future project. And it's going to look green, and that's fine. I'm fine with it looking green. I just wanted something, like I said, dark so you can read it. I like to double stamp my sentiments if I can. There we go. That's more bold now and reads a little bit better. So did that, and then I took from our package, and I have a lot of ephemera, so you know you're gonna have a lot of extras. Just didn't go with my project, so I'll use it for another project or another class maybe. And that way, if you guys want some other ideas, then you can. I took the little ladybug, and I took the orange one because I thought the yellow obviously wasn't going to go with the yellow. And I just put him at the top here. If you want, you can always peel the little foam off of the back and just glue it on directly if you don't want it to stick out so much. But I kind of like that it's doing that. And then I took a gel pen, a little black one, and I just drew little dash lines. Because my little ladybug is flying or crawling across the card. I didn't go all the way to the end because I'm going to add a flower there, so I'm going to take my flowers now. And you can put as many flowers or as little flowers as you want. I kind of like having it in a triangle scheme, but I'm just going to add some of the pink ones, I think, today. So I have a whole bunch. You probably have a whole bunch from your kit still. And I am just going to glue it too. So I'm going to glue this big one down here. And pick it up. Come on, fingers. There we go. Did the glue, but that's okay, it'll dry. And then I did a second one beside it. Maybe like there, yeah. Put a little less glue on this time. I really need to go get myself the fine point glue nozzle again because mine clogged. And then I'm gonna put this one up here in this corner this time. If you liked how I did it in my sample, I just added, I think, 5 flowers, but I'm just doing 3 this time, just because I want the glittery ones, and I'm running out of the glittery ones. But then it looks like it's added to our jar. Okay, so that's how we did the outside. And again, the nice thing is, once you fold it back up, you have a card that will stand on its own. Like this. It's hard to show on camera, but you get it. Again, you can decorate the inside, so maybe we'll just quickly do that since I have some time. Melanie's class is going to start soon, so those who don't need to watch me redo it or want to catch the replay after, feel free to leave to go to her class after. Totally fine. I won't be mad if everyone leaves. But I will just demo at the end of the class one more time how to do the cut and score. I'm taking our Jiffy Leaf stencil. I didn't have that on my instructions, but I want to add just a soft touch to this. I'm trying to decide if I want him on an angle. Maybe like that. I'm going to take Yummy Yellow, since I have that one out, and I'm going to grab a bigger brush, blending brush, just so that it's just a light. I like to keep the inside light. Just so that way, if I'm writing a message to somebody, I can write over top. So I'm just going to take the Yummy Yellow, just quickly add a little bit of this. And you might see through this to the leaves, and that's fine. And try and keep the middle a little bit lighter, even. So that way it's kind of not maybe as showy. Oops. And it doesn't help when you do that. Let's come up here, add a little bit up here. Okay. You know what? This is so light. I'm just going to add the leaf back in the middle, so maybe I'll just do the whole thing. I didn't do that on my original cards, but it's so light that it's fine. And now I'm going to take, because we have so much ephemera, and obviously Let Your Light Shine works really well for our card with our little guy here. I'm going to add that in the middle. But I like to stamp our stamps one more time on the inside too. So I'm just going to grab the little fireflies, and maybe even just one. Let's just use this guy. And let him just coming down from there. And I'll stamp him in creamy caramel just to match with the sentiment a little bit. There, I'm not going to color him. I just leave him kind of as line art for the inside. I add this. Like I said, if you didn't, because we'll see how it looks once we close up the card and see if it, if you can see through past there. I'm not super worried about it. There. No, I can't see it really. It just, when I saw the demo and how to make this card, they were worried about you might be able to see the inside from the outside. And I guess you can a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. But you can always put it back here too, right? So, you can always, I like to leave my stamp back here so I can say what stamp I used and stuff. So, leave it at that. But, okay, that's everything for that class today. I hope you enjoyed the process, and sorry about my wishy-washiness. Again, I am just going to quickly redo how to make the card base and go really slow this time. And again, I will have instructions. I apologize. As soon as I get back to my brother's house, I'll type them all up. You're going to have quite a few left of these guys because I only used the orange ones. And I have a whole bunch of ephemera still that you can use for other projects. Like I said, I'm going to be making a bee card for the next Throwback Thursday, so maybe I'll try and use some of our ephemera from our package for that. And I'm just going to grab, again, the other half of my card base that I had already cut out. And I'll put the instructions back there. Sorry, my camera's at an angle because I had angled it for the coloring. Alright. So, starting again from the top. Alright, so you have a card base. I'm just going to make sure see my end of my trimmer because that's probably the most important part. There you go. And you're going to cut it 4 1/4, so half of it 8 1/2 by 11. Again, feel free to leave, guys. Okay, Mary Pat, I'll show you how to do this quickly. So cut to 4 1/4 by 11. And then you are going to take your trimmer, and if you have the same trimmer as me, you're going to line it up to the 1 inch mark on the side here. If you don't have a marker on this side of your trimmer, you can always line up 1 inch here. Maybe I'll do it the opposite way this time in case you don't have a trimmer. Make sure you're not cutting yet. And I am lining up my blade. So it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just going to take my scissors. There's a 1 inch mark on my blade here. If you don't have the same trimmer as me, you may not, or you don't have a trimmer that has that, you can take a pen, draw a line from 1 inch all the way to 6 1/2. But I am going to cut because I have that mark on my blade. I can line it up here. Go from 1 inch and 1 inch down there. So 1 inch all the way up. To 6.5. And I'm being really slow this time, so I make sure I cut all the way to 6.5 this time. Okay. Then you're going to lift your paper up. And you're going to do this exact same thing on the other side. So this time, because I'm doing the opposite of how I did it last time, I'm lining up the 1 inch mark here, my piece of paper. You're welcome, Laura. I hope you enjoy making more. And like I said, I will have instructions just so that next time you can refer back to it and I'll have to watch the whole video again. But if you want to skip to, I'll maybe write in the notes under my video what time I started the second process of this again. So again, line up 1 inch, and this time I left my blade exactly where my 6.5 mark is, and I'm going to trim down to the 1 inch mark. And that should, if I've lined everything up properly, that should give us 2 equal lines from 1 inch to 6.5 inches. It's a little better than my last attempt. Then I'm going to move my blade out of the way because I am lazy and don't want to grab the scoreboard. I'm rotating my paper 90 degrees. I'm going to use my trimmer as my guide for doing my scoring. So if you miss the first half, you don't want to score here at all. You only want to score on the outsides from the cut line to the outside. Cut line to the outside. So I just line up my bone folder, and actually I'm going to maybe grab a better one. Well, that's a good bone folder, but I need something a little skinnier. I have it. Oh, there it is. Don't always like using this one because it's sharp, but I'm just going to draw a little line. Nope, that's not good. Okay, back to the bone folder. All right. So just making a line to the cut line only. Well, Mary Pat's probably not the most ideal thing to use your trimmer for scoring. You probably should use a scoreboard. Especially since it can be a little hard to kind of figure out exactly where your score line is on here, but I find it just easier for me. I just visually like it better. So again, I bought the Stampin' Up trimmer. So I'm going to see if that makes a difference for me, because then I can score with my trimmer. All right, so you scored just here, not in the middle. Then I'm going to move my paper down to the 2 inch mark. Make sure that's straight. And again, same thing, just repeating the exact same thing. Score to the cut line. Score to the cut line. Then we're going to move our paper up to, let's open up the trimmer for that. So 6.5, which I think the problem I had was I thought that was right in the middle, but it's not. Because that's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Ah, okay. So I made a mistake on my trimmer, so that's actually 6.5 there. Oops, I'm off screen. Let me make sure I'm on screen still. Like I said, big delay in my camera, or on my screen. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. So cut line to the outside of the card. Only. Score. Cut line to the outside of the card. Oh. I always have a harder time on this side. Here we go. Okay. Again, no scoring in the middle yet. Yeah, I know, I told them to leave, so I'm like, mine's a little bit more Not as much of a scene like yours is, but I spent more time, I think, coloring on mine, so I'm glad I didn't spend more time making a scene. You guys would have been here for 5 hours. I'm so slow at crafting compared to others. So we all had different ideas, which is great. All right, now I'm going to move my paper up so it meets the 5.5 mark. Just make sure that's lined up nicely. And I'm now only going to score in the middle. I'm not scoring on the outside, but I do line it up quickly for a second just so I know where I'm going. And I'm going to press in and make sure I'm only scoring from the inside of the cut lines. Oh, can you guys see? Because it's kind of off screen a little bit. You can see still. Make sense for anybody who's watching me? And that's how we cut and score our card. Oops. Just moving my trimmer out of the way. All right. So next thing you want to do is you're going to fold things. So I start kind of with, you have to almost kind of hold it in a certain way to get it to work. So I'm going to push instead. Where's my card? Okay, so this is a mountain fold. I'm going to come to the back this time and go like this. So that, nope, other way. Yeah. So now I'm just going to I kind of folded it both ways, but I want this end to meet up with this. If that makes sense. Not very good at explaining mountain versus fold. But I'm folding basically up and up. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen. Screen is skinch up a little bit. And then I take the middle piece here and fold. And then this will fold better, I think. Ugh. Man, this is the hardest part. There. Oh, I see. Did it wrong again. This way, fold in. Jeez. Why is this not lining up all of a sudden? Ugh. Okay. That's why you want to practice a few times when you make folds like that. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. All right. So if I hold it like this, maybe you can see what I did there. It always takes me a moment, right? So you want basically, okay, a mountain fold down here. Pinch the two sides together. And then you want to pinch these two sides together. And then this will go and fold up. And once you get it, you kind of just have to play with it a little bit till you get it to kind of fold the right way. I'm going to reinforce your fold. Yeah, lightly. Also, don't pinch baby's thighs. I don't understand sometimes why we do things as a human nature. And I'm just reinforcing it. Yeah. This is also why I had a hard time printing up instructions, because I don't know how to explain that. Okay, good. But there we go. That looks a lot better than my last card. It's folding a lot nicer, and you can see from above that this folds down, this folds up, this is a mountain, mountain, valley. I know it's human nature to do things like that. I don't know, I'm the weirdo who's like, why? Why do we do things like that? Where we're like, we gotta hurt the baby, we gotta bite the baby, we gotta, those type of things where it's like, why are people nibbling on babies? It's weird to me. Anyway, this is why I'm probably never going to have kids. So it's all good. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And you guys have a few minutes to get into Melanie's card. And If you do make this card and you have any troubles, just tag me. I'll try my best to explain it. And like I said, I am going to go straight to my brother's house in an hour or so, and I'll write up the instructions and make sure they're posted tonight before the end of the day. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and thanks for struggling with me here. I hope I can find my original card, because I have no clue where it went. It's going to be in the obvious spot once I stop the live, and I'll be like, there's my card. But anyway, that's just how we made our cute little card today. So I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.